Illinois celebrates. South Carolina fans cry. Happy New Year's from Locked On Illini.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Locked On Illini. I apologize. I could not go live immediately after the game yesterday. As some of you know, I've been dealing with voice issues all week long, and by the time I got home last night after the game, my voice was shot, and that's one of the reasons I'm trying to do this episode so early. This is a live episode, by the way, so I'd love to hear your comments. Let me know in the chat. This is going to be more of a community show. I'll do an actual recap later on in the week when my voice isn't going crazy. So you're going to be seeing, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see me drinking water a lot just because this is a game to celebrate. But before we get started, of course, my name is Sunny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini. Please send me a message on all the social medias. I believe it was Wayne. Wayne, I appreciate you reaching out yesterday saying the Discord link was broken. So I provided Wayne with the Discord link, and he joined us, and we were talking about the football game as it was happening. So if you haven't joined our Discord community, please do. Thank you, as always, for making us your first listen every single day. Again, if you want to help support the show, just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And you know what? The vibes are so good in Illini world. Go ahead, and everyone who's watching, I'd appreciate it if you just hit the like button right now, right before we start talking about this game. And what a game it was. The fact that Illinois, in my opinion, saved its best game for last. You look at the game plan. Look, if we compare the talent on the field, it was very one side. South Carolina has a lot more 4 stars, 5-star talent, but Illinois put on an absolute clinic to the point where I was getting messages from various other Locked On hosts, various just fans of other teams saying, hey, you guys are pretty good. This comes with the reputation of being an Illinois fan, and sometimes it's self-inflicted, right? We're always just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, that, we're always feeling like we're the little brother and that something is going to go wrong. That game against the South Carolina Gamecocks was a masterclass by Brett Bielema, the coaching staff. It's one of those where, of course, the drama happened, and we're going to be talking about that drama in the second segment. I'll save my comments for that later. But we saw a performance from everyone we needed to see a performance from. Like in the preview game, in the preview episode, I talked about I wanted to see which young wide receiver would step up. And Hank Beatty had one of the most important catches of the night. He finished 4 catches for 90 yards. Malik Elzy just 1 for 11, but he was on the field a lot on Tuesday. And that's what I was hoping for. Because again, a lot of us are kind of nervous about, Malik's future. One of the highest prospects we've had in a very long time. And he just hasn't seen the field much the first couple of years. So, there's some suspicion with the transfer portal. And for those of you who don't know, the rule is in college football that the transfer portal is open plus 5 days if your team is in a bowl game. So while it's closed for most people, for Illinois and South Carolina, it's still open another 5 days. So we'll see what happens. But Colin Dixon had a good game. Hank Beatty had a good game. Malik Elzy had a fantastic game. I'm so proud of Ryan Mead. Ryan Mead, who a day before declared for the NFL draft, he announced, he showed up and he had some key plays. Josh McCray, who you can tell, and I'm speaking on his behalf. He would never confirm it, but Josh McCray is Brett Bielema's favorite player. A year ago when I was doing, not this show, but Illini Cast, which, by the way, you can see the handle for, subscribe to us there as well. I didn't think Josh McCray had a role on this team. Between Caden Fagan and all the young talent we have at the running back position, I was just afraid, hey, at this point, Josh keeps getting hurt. Maybe it's better for him to go in a different direction. But I recorded that episode, and I got a couple text messages shortly thereafter, people who are involved with the team. And they just told me Josh isn't going anywhere. Like, Josh is the guy that when other running back recruits visit, they stay with Josh. Brett Bielema trusts McCray so much that any prospects that he's all in on, he tries to room with Josh McCray because he believes Josh loves the university, got that leadership type of personality. And, we all know the story now. It's kind of getting repeated all too often. Josh is the first recruit that Brett Bielema had when he came to Illinois. And to see him top it off with 13 carries, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns, should have been 3 touchdowns on Tuesday. How can you have anything but smiles on your face after that game? And again, I'm going to get to the comments early today just because my voice itself is pretty shot. So I want to hear your guys' MVP. I want to know what your guys' thoughts on the game were. Not just thoughts on the game, but thoughts on where this program is headed. I could not get the smile off my face in that Citrus Bowl preview just because it's like, even though we were projected to lose by like 10 points, by the way, shame on me. Shame on me. I hinted the entire episode. The episode before I said, for some reason, we're 10-point dogs. That makes no sense. The entire preview episode, I'm talking about, hey, I think we can win. I think we can win. And then when it's time for me to make the final score prediction, I have us losing by 4 points. I'm literally talking about how there's no pundit out there, and that's true, predicted Illinois was going to win. And I sat there the whole time talking about how they can win. And then when it was time for me to make a prediction, I had them losing 31-27. So shame on me. But some of you guys in the comment section did predict that Illinois victory. So shout out to you guys. I did the same thing against, I believe, the Nebraska game. I kept talking about how we were going to win. But then my final prediction, I had us losing. We ended up winning. I just got to have more faith in these guys. And again, this is what Josh Whitman and Brett Bielema talk about. That the fan base sometimes has that big boulder on their shoulder where they just need to kind of acknowledge that, hey, this team is really good. We can disregard history at this point. Brett Bielema knows what he's doing. Josh Whitman knows what he's doing. And who knows, from this point forward, this could be annually an 8, a 9, a 10-win team. This is not the mindset anymore where we're finishing in the bottom of the Big Ten. We have the guy. We have the right guy. And I'm the perfect example of what the traditional Illini fan acts like. Hey, yeah, we're kind of good, but, we'll probably lose at the end. I really think that Tuesday shut a lot of people up. And again, I'm not talking about Illinois fans. A lot of us were optimistic. Again, you guys in the chat, you guys in the comment section after my preview, a lot of you had them winning. It's the national media. ESPN Game Day had all they picked was South Carolina, a clean sweep. And I'm not kidding. I spent about 10, 15 minutes before I recorded the preview episode to see if I can find one guy, one writer to have Illinois winning. I did not find one. And then when I had the opportunity to be one, I chickened out. But again, I'm going to get more in depth with the game on a future episode. This is just more of a community show. Just want to kind of recap that. Right after this, I really want to talk about this crybaby drama that happened. I feel like it kind of stole the story of the entire game. So let's address that next. Attending the new 12-team college playoff games is an incredible experience that brings fans together like never before. I remember the excitement of past playoff games and can't wait to make new memories with the updated format and extra teams involved. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I used Gametime picks to find tickets for an upcoming game. Browsing through the deals was a breeze, and I found great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. The Super Deal in particular stood out as the best value for the event. I love that I could see the seat views before buying, and the app shows the total cost upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, the on-time ticket delivery lowest price guarantee gave me complete peace of mind. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Okay, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this big story between Brett Bielema and Shane Beamer, where I've never seen a coach act the way Shane Beamer coached or acted. And it's one of those things. This is why I kicked off the show talking about how our coaching staff did an absolute masterclass of a job on Tuesday, because I don't understand how South Carolina thought they could get away with their late substitutions. Like, Brett has been doing this all year long. Nothing he did was illegal. So to give you guys some context, whoever missed the game, South Carolina's strategy, and they've done this all season long. I talked to one of the South Carolina people, so I knew this was going to happen. Brett Bielema knew this was going to happen. South Carolina tends to sub their guys out with like sub 30 seconds left on the play clock, 25 seconds on the play clock, basically to try to confuse the defense. The communications go out and whatnot. So the perfect response, and Brett Bielema, again, you Illini fans, this is what he does. If you sub late, Brett Bielema is going to take his time to sub his defensive guys in. And so that started happening very early in the game. And for some reason, Shane Beamer was acting like he's never seen this before. He was throwing tantrums. I legit, because where I was watching the game, it was a pretty big crowd. So I was wondering, I'm like, something else must have happened. But he started throwing fits very, very early. And Brett Bielema, let's be honest, started having fun with it. And sure, in particular, the T sign that he made, the substitution sign, can be argued that was a little trolling. At that time, of course, Brett's never going to admit to anything. He said he was pointing at the entire sideline. I did listen to the post-game press conferences on both sides, and I kind of understand what Brett was trying to say. I don't know if I believe him or not. Sure, one of my least favorite parts about college football is the fake injuries. And that's why I'm being pretty objective about it. Seeing Illinois do it in the second half, I do wish they take that out of football. I'm not mad at Brett or Illinois in doing it, because the same way I'm not mad at other teams when they do it when I watch college football. Do I like to see it? No. Do I think it's kind of cheap? Sure. But it's a strategy. And we're not the first ones to all of a sudden spring it onto the college football world. But this game, I truly believe, was won by Brett getting in the head of Beamer. I don't know if Beamer just lost focus, but I've never seen a coach. I thought what Dennis Gates did in that Missouri game was crazy. When he came out on the floor and tantrum, and the referees got so distracted by that, they missed Morez Johnson getting body slammed onto the court. But this is just one of those where I hope there's some SEC fans watching. If there's some South Carolina fans watching who are calling all that cheap, nothing Brett did was illegal. Brett is one of the best coaches in the country for a reason. He knows every rule in and out. I've joked about this on this very show. I genuinely believe sometimes he knows some of the rules better than the referees do, with the explanations that he gives in his short interviews. He knows every in and out because he knows that Illinois needs every advantage that they can get. We're rarely the more talented team on the field. That doesn't mean we're not the better team on the field, but that's a job, giving credit to Brett and the staff. But it's Brett's responsibility to put Illinois in the best position possible to win every single game. And that's knowing every edge you can get and exploiting it. I'm shocked. I was texting a couple people after the game was over. Hey, how was the experience? And South Carolina fans were apparently just not a very fun group to hang out with. Pre-game, tailgating-wise, they were great. But once the game started, it really seemed like Brett got in the heads of South Carolina fans and, more importantly, their head coach. You're seeing a lot of national guys say, to be honest, it's 50-50, that Brett should have been penalized. In my opinion, if you penalized Brett, I would have been okay if you threw a flag on both coaches, like a sideline warning each side. Hey, guys, there's a lot of shenanigans going on. You guys had your fun. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. You, stop trolling the other coach. You, stop acting like a 3-year-old. And I think maybe things would have calmed down. But the referees just kind of let things go. And we got that, dare I say, iconic moment of Brett just kind of laughing at Beamer when Beamer's again throwing his tirade on the side. And I'm not going to lie, the group of people I was with, we all laughed with Brett. Like, that was a really enjoyable moment. It could have turned out bad. South Carolina on that very drive ended up scoring and taking the lead. And of course, if that was the case, the story could have been, hey, you pissed Beamer off. You pissed off all those that talented South Carolina team. You poked at the Tiger. The Tiger is Brett Bielema. Maybe a Tiger is probably not. The big bear is Brett Bielema. And the fact that he, again, not just on the field, we saw the return of the barge. How many people noticed that? South Carolina had never seen that before. They had no clue how to defend it. Every time they lined up for the barge, you'd see a cornerback just looking around like, who am I guarding here? There's no wide receiver. Trust me, no cornerback wants to go up against a 280-pound lineman, 320-pound lineman. They're looking for an excuse of some taller, skinny guy to guard. Illinois was like, hey, we're going to send our 8 biggest, meatiest guys up front. Try to stop us. Zero response. South Carolina had no response. And again, it's just one of those where, as an Illini fan, and I hope you all agree with me, I hope you get to sink it in. Like, just, if you have a chance to watch the game again, watch it. I can't wait to watch it again. And I fully plan on sometime this week. We played our best game against the number 15 South Carolina Gamecocks, an SEC team, a team that was argued should be in the college football playoff. If you follow me at IlliniCast on X, you saw me. There's a lot of pundits out there saying, hey, maybe Illinois was the 9-3 team that should have been in the college football playoff. And I talked about this before as well. This is why Brett is making such a point to involve himself in social media and to bringing Illinois into every single conversation. He's planting the seed. Hand up, if I'm being straight up honest with you guys, this team this year probably did not deserve to be in the college football playoff. I don't think it was one of the 12 best teams in the country. But we got mentioned. And now, after this victory, Illinois is one of the 5 or 6 teams, I didn't count, I should have counted beforehand, 5 or 6 teams that have won double digits this year. That's a big deal. Moving forward in recruiting, that's going to be a big deal. But more importantly, think about this. I told you how optimistic I am for next year's Illinois team. That 2025 team on the football side we could be returning 17, maybe 18 starters. This year, we were one of the youngest teams in Power 4. We might have been the youngest. Next year, this team was built on sophomores and juniors. Next year's team, we have Luke Altmaier coming back. We have a senior quarterback coming back. We're going to have a top 3, top 4 quarterback in the Big Ten Conference. Look at that running back room. McCray, Lofgren, Valentine, Fagan. If we can get J.C. Davis back, next year's team has the opportunity to replicate what this year's team just did. But the difference is next year, the national writers, the national pundits, the committee are going to already have the name of Illinois in the back of their mind. And again, that's why Brett does this. He wants Illinois to be involved in the national stories. If you're going to talk about South Carolina potentially being the college football playoff, if you're going to talk about Clemson, if you're going to talk about Ole Miss, oh, by the way, you have to include Illinois in that conversation now too. This year proved it. Tuesday proved it. Brett Bielema, masterclass. Let's get to your thoughts right after this. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's thrilling. Not only can you bet on who will win the game, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown or how many points each team will score. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, and welcome back. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you've hit that like button. We have about 21 likes and about 55 people in the chat. So the math isn't mathing, folks. If you can hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, the everydayers in the chat know I do this every single day. I make 30 to 40 minutes of content for Illini fans every single day. So please join me on my goal to hit 2,000 subs. We're about 250 away, so we're getting so close. Again, this episode, I just kind of want to do a community show, get the vibes of the audience, of the crowd. It's such a good time to be an Illinois fan. Think about it. In 2024, our basketball team made a run to the Elite Eight, and our football team just won its 10th game. There's never been a time that I can recall that's been a better time to be an Illini sports fan. Let's get to some of your comments. TM says, have to admit, I didn't think Illinois would win. You don't have to feel bad about that. Not a lot of people did. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. Again, Vegas, the spread was, I think, 10. It was going up and down between 9.5 and 11. And I think it settled at 10 right before the kickoff. But it just might be the mindset that we have to start changing ourselves. Jason, nice to see you. Let's go ILL. TM says Illinois played at a level that I really haven't seen them play yet. I think it's Brandon said in the very next comment, this is the best game Illinois has played under the Brett era. The entire game plan worked. I'm telling you, when I saw the looks and faces of South Carolina when we lined up all those offensive linemen and no wide receivers, I knew that, we got him. Brett scouted the heck out of this team. And that brings me to another point, which I talked about in the preview. And, it kind of addresses TM's comment earlier. Like, this is why I'm kicking myself for not just predicting Illinois was going to win. Brett, the staff, the players were treating this game as if it was a game for the Big Ten championship. They were prepared. They were talking about, like, they knew how important of a game that this was. 10 wins for Illinois. This wasn't a bowl game where they didn't care. A bunch of guys opted out. No, everyone except for Pat Bryant. Everyone else who could have gone in the direction of not playing suited up because they understand the importance. They understand the culture, the family that Brett Bielema is building here. You can see why players love playing for Brett. I think in the post-game conference, he talked about it. Someone asked him a question about South Carolina having all these 4 and 5 stars, and he's like, I don't care. Matt Bailey was a 2-star. Josh McCray, back to Matt Bailey. He's like, I purposely didn't offer Matthew Bailey 2 days before the signing day because he's like, the minute I did, other people would copy, and he didn't want to lose Bailey. There truly is a coach, player, father, son type of bond that Brett is building here at Illinois. And if you're a fan of the old school of college football, you've got to love it. I'm not saying Illinois is doing it the right way. I don't know if any college football team does it the right way anymore, at least the way they used to maybe 20 years ago. But Illinois is being as right as you can build a Power 5, Power 4 team now, if that makes sense. Brandon says Illinois overcame a zebra show and turnovers to win against a great team. Yeah, I mean, that first play, Josh McCray insists he did not fumble that ball, but I think we gave up about 10 points on the scoreboard there. Jason says McCray deserved the MVP. Yeah, I'm so happy for him in the sense, that fumble in that first drive, and then they took him out immediately afterwards. I was hoping that Brett would give him another chance, just to prove himself. And let's be honest, was it in the fourth down or fourth quarter, 2 minutes left, Illinois has to kill the clock, hand the ball to Josh McCray. What does he do? Busts out a 60-yarder, stays in bound, and at that point, essentially, the game is over. Brandon says offensive MVP McCray or Beatty, defensive MVP D-line. Yeah, this was the best game. The defense, I don't think I've even talked about the defense. Lenore Sellers looked like a freshman quarterback. This was, I believe, the SEC Freshman of the Year. A lot of us, and a lot of this chat, a lot of viewers here, there's been a lot of angry Aaron Henry post-game shows. Let's be honest. Give him his credit after this one. South Carolina, they got very little done on the offensive side. And they really held Sellers in check. They really made Sellers, like Daniels before him, like Childs before him, look like an inexperienced quarterback. Aaron Henry, arguably in the coaching staff, Aaron Henry is the MVP. If you're giving off an offensive MVP, a defensive MVP, coaching staff, I'm really proud of Aaron. D-line played great, only sending 3 guys. Delectable Danny Pintar, 2026 recruits' phones will be lit up all winter. We just had our first recruit, maybe an hour before I started recording it. Now, first recruit of the 2026 class, but our first recruit post-bowl game. So, yeah, people are watching, and that's my point. People are seeing the progress that this Illinois team is making. Also, Aaron Henry and Lunny are legit. Ugh. I mean, at some point, some smaller schools got to offer Barry Lunny Jr. a job, and he should absolutely take it. But right now, Illinois is very fortunate to have the people we have on staff. I watched Texas A&M pound Missouri, then watched South Carolina pound Texas A&M. South Carolina was good. They're a very good football team. Don't let the narrative change. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, no, it was a bowl game. It doesn't matter. South Carolina is not that good, etc. No. If South Carolina was good before this game, if they were 10-point favorites before this game, nothing changed after. The only thing that changed is they got beat. Now, I'm going to say it. They got beat by the better team. You need to give the other team, Illinois, more credit than rather discrediting South Carolina. And I want you guys out there on social media, whatever, saying the same exact thing. Don't let them change the narrative around. First time this year when both coaches were on. Santi, nice to see you, part of the Positive Party fan club. Props to you. Again, I'm kicking myself for not doing that. Brandon said, give Henry more defensive talent and he can cook. Yeah, 100%. It's, again, hopefully now, this is why getting 10 wins was so key. That's one heck of a recruiting point. That's, some of these kids are younger, and yeah, of course, like, they don't understand that, hey, Illinois may have had a very bad history. History doesn't matter anymore. 2 out of 3 years, we won 8 games. I think this team can win 8 games next year. If Illinois wins 8 games 3 out of 4 years, it's not a fluke anymore. That's a trend. That's where Illinois football is headed. Malcolm says, the fourth quarter shut people up. This was the most dominant quarter of football in decades. People look back at White's 80s teams, but they had undersized lines compared to teams like Oklahoma and Nebraska. Bielema's teams building sustainability. White was on a path to that. Let me finish here. Makovich burned up White's last class. Tepper came waiting to build a running team, but couldn't. No one since Tepper was a quality coach. This includes Turner and Zook. Illinois, it's on its way. And I want to get to the original point of the fourth quarter. I think Jeremy Warner and Joey Wagner talked about this in their post game. And, it's a great point. This is now a team where you just got to give us a shot in the fourth quarter. Because Luke Altmaier is one of the most clutch quarterbacks in all of college football. As long as we keep it close, I'm at the point now where I trust Luke to make the play that needs to be played. And as you said, that fourth quarter was an introduction, in my opinion. And let me know what you guys think. And hit the like button, please, if you agree with this. That fourth quarter was the introduction of the new era of Illinois football to the national world. I would not be surprised. This is going to be the most viewed Illinois game of the season. Of course, your Illinois games in general, only Illinois people are watching. Bowl games, everyone's watching. In particular, Citrus Bowl, one of the bigger bowl games out there, arguably the biggest one not involved in the CFP. This one got millions of viewers. And millions of viewers got to see that, hey, Illinois isn't just Illinois. Illinois is a legit good football team. Brent says, Oregon very rarely sub offensively that game. Oh, yeah, Brendan talking about Beamer. Obviously did not watch the Illinois versus Oregon game. Brett was coaching circles around Beamer the whole game. I feel bad for South Carolina fans, like just trying to cope and call Brett classless and whatnot. It's like if I were on the receiving end of that, I do feel like I would be more objective about it. And maybe it just hurts feelings to say that, hey, yeah, our guy just got outclassed. I liked Beamer before this game started. I like what he's trying to do. I know South Carolina is not an easy program to run, very similar to Illinois. But that was sad. That was sad. Brandon says Brett is an upper half Big Ten coach. He's a lot higher than upper half. I made a comment about this. I did a national show last offseason where we're, it's the offseason, so you're like ranking the top head coaches in the Big Ten Conference. And one of the guys on the panel had Sharon Moore higher than Brett Bielema. And I got to go back and screenshot my face when I saw that, but it was ridiculous then, and it's showing that it's ridiculous now. Brett Bielema, I'll save the actual list for a future episode, but I would be shocked if I put him outside my top 6. He's easily top 30. He has to be. Illinois is a very difficult program to win at. He just won 10 games. I said, regardless of the outcome of the game, this game gave juice to the bowl game. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was bowl game. That was old school football. Old school rivalry bowl game. I mean, people talked about, hey, Illinois and South Carolina need to just put each other on each other's schedules moving forward. Now, I completely disagree with that. Give me 3 MAC teams from now on from the out-of-conference. We need to maximize and exploit the way college football works. And moving forward, we need to get as many wins as possible and continue to stay involved in the college football playoff. But again, yeah, that felt like a game. 2 teams who, by the end, hated each other. 2 coaching staffs who were at each other's throats. I feel like one of the biggest disappointments of that game was everyone was looking forward to that post-game handshake, right, with the head coaches. But they actually ended up keeping it pretty classy. So the SC coach was running out on the field the entire game. It was like little boy who cried wolf. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I would have understood if you wanted to give both coaches a flag and just, hey, guys, both of you settle down. But I keep hearing the narrative that only Brett should have gotten a flag, and I just simply don't agree with that. We'll have more of your comments right after this. Illinois was definitely the most physical team, the more physical team. Absolutely. Daryl, nice to see you. Sunny, just so proud of the Illini. Glad they pull a Michigan. They didn't pull a Michigan and rolled over and played dead. Hey, give props to Michigan, too. They took care of Alabama. They were 16-point dogs. They lost their quarterback. And yesterday was just a very good day for the Big Ten in general. Simeon, nice to see you. I'm so proud of Josh. He deserves recognition for hanging in there through all the injuries and producing. Absolutely. He's going to go down as one of the, like, you know, the way we look at Trent Frazier on the basketball side, when the program was down on its dumps, he was like the first guy. Hey, did he stay when Brad Underwood came on to coach? He did, and he kind of transitioned us from that era to this new one. Josh McCray, I think, is going to be the face, similar to what Trent Frazier was. Brent said, when the bars came out, I kept yelling at my TV, run it again. It's funny. In South Carolina, again, had no idea what to do. Simeon says, I'm so proud of the Illini. We beat a good SEC team. Thanks to all the Illini that didn't opt out. Lovey deserves some credit for laying the foundation, but Brett is building something sustainable. Gabe Jackas should come back. He could be a first-round pick next year. Yeah, I reached out before the bowl game. I think it's still 50-50. Same thing with JC Davis, guys. I still think it's 50-50 on whether they come back. But if they do, watch out. Jailbreak says, had to chime in. Brett was prepared for, yeah, I'm telling you, Brett scouted in South Carolina. It looked like South Carolina did not scout. It's like South Carolina acted like they showed up at the stadium and they didn't know who they were playing. Connie, I'm so jealous. She says, so proud to attend this game. Illini blasted the Gamecocks in the fourth quarter. Josh McCray busted that for the long run and party on. Exactly. My place erupted when he made it there. Who would have thought South Carolina fans would be so angry? Angry makes the win more glorious. Right, exactly. They talk about this being a glorified scrimmage, and then they show this sort of emotion after the game. Like I said, don't let them change the narrative. Malcolm says, woohoo, I got to update the UVI football Wikipedia page to show a W in Citrus Bowl. Someone updated the record but left off the bowl. Good work, Malcolm. Brad says, SEC teams think we're just supposed to roll over for them. Exactly, yeah. Malcolm, I wonder how much of Brett leaving the SEC made this thing more satisfying for him. Yeah, you're reading my brain, Malcolm. That's a segment for a future episode. If you haven't already, watch that post-game report press conference with Brett, where he kind of talks about leaving his previous job. He felt like he had a lot to prove. And I truly believe that victory on Tuesday was something that it was like a redemption sort of feeling for Brett himself. And last one, Brandon said Brett needs more NIL funds. Well, I hopefully will be having Icon, the head of Icon, on the show, and she'll be able to describe to you how, in ways that you can all help if that's something you're interested in. Again, if you haven't already before, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button. The vibes are immaculate. I'll be back on tomorrow to preview the Oregon game. And I've got Ryan from Locked On Badgers. He's going to be telling us about the 3 newest Illini, turned former Badgers. Just to give us a little scouting report to get to know what kind of players that we're going to be suiting up next year. Again, this team, guys, can be really, really good next year. But I appreciate all of you bearing with me. I toughed it out for 40 minutes at this point with my throat. But before it gives out, I will see you on tomorrow's episode. Please join the Discord in the link. Make sure you're subscribed. ILL. Love you guys.